Good morning. Welcome to the First Universalist Church of Yarmouth. My name is Ann Turner. I'm a member of the Worship Council. I'm so glad to be greeting you this morning. A warm welcome to friends gathered here in our sanctuary and also to those of you on Zoom this morning. At First Universalist, our mission is to explore our faith, embrace this community, and engage the world as spiritual seekers. May we take these words to heart. If this is your first time here in our congregation, welcome. We invite you to fill out a connection card located in front of you in your pew so that we may connect you with events and programs that interest you. You can drop that in the offering plate when it comes around later in the service. For those joining us with young children, nursery care is available during our service for babies and toddlers. It's right out that side door and down the hallway on the left. Following our time for wonder this morning, our children are invited to join Gwen and Mac downstairs for Children's Chapel. Before we begin, I have two announcements. Following our service today, Reverend Hillary will host a children's tea and cookies in Gwen's office from 11:45 to 12:15. All kiddos are welcome to come by. And the second announcement, next Sunday is Easter, and we invite you to help us make our sanctuary extra bright and springy for the holiday with potted flowers and bulbs. We have started our collection. We invite you to drop off any plants during the week, this week, or bring them Sunday morning. After the service, you are welcome to take them home with you to plant in your garden or share with loved ones. Thank you. And now I invite you to take a deep breath. As we settle into this time together. Our guest musicians, John Auble and his son Nate, and members of the choir will lead us into worship.
Thank you, choir. Good morning. How are you on this blustery day? Is anyone ready for it to just be like 52 degrees outside? Just like 52 degrees. It'd be really nice. Oh, I am Reverend Hillary. I serve as the minister here at First U Yarmouth, our beautiful church that rests upon Wabanaki land and the banks of the Royal River, which was known by the people who lived here as the Wascustago. And it is with love, my friends, that I say, whoever you are, wherever you're from, whomever you love, whatever it is you have done or have yet to do, you are welcome here. And we are so glad you have gathered here with us in peace and friendship this bright, blustery spring morning. Friends, our theme this month of April is an interesting one. An interesting one for this very holy month in which the high holy days of Passover, Ramadan, and Holy Week all coincide. And it's also an interesting theme given that spring is upon us. The bulbs are sprouting, the birds are singing, the buds are budding, and soon the wind chill might rise above 28 degrees. And so, with all this hope and possibility in the air and the earth, and all of the sacred stories of miracles and liberation being honored and retold across the world right now, it is indeed interesting that our theme this month is resistance. Resistance. To help us explore, embrace, and engage this theme, Ann Turner will share our reading this morning. One of your favorite poems, springtime poems, right, Ann? And most certainly a poem that evokes the theme of resistance. Thanks, Ann.
Our opening poem this morning is called Crocus Minded by the Reverend Joe Sorley. It takes courage to be crocus-minded. God, I would rather wait until June, like wise roses, when the hazards of winter are safely behind and I'm expected. Everything's ready for roses, but crocuses? Highly irregular, knifing through hard, frozen ground and snow and sticking their necks out because they believe in spring and they have something personal and emphatic to say about it. God, I am by nature rose-minded. Even when I have studied the situation here and I know there are wrongs that need righting and affirmations that need stating, and I know also that my speaking out may offend, for it rocks the boat. Well, I'd rather wait until June. Maybe later things will work themselves out and we won't have to make an issue out of it. God forgive. Wrongs don't work themselves out. Injustices and inequities and hurts don't just dissolve. Somebody has to stick her neck out. Somebody who cares enough to think through and work through hard ground because she believes and has something personal and emphatic to say about it. Me, God? Crocus-minded? Could it be that there are things that need to be said and you want me to say them? I pray for courage. Good morning again, crocus and rose-minded friends. It is good to be with you. Let's take a moment to turn and greet your neighbors. Thanks.
Okay, friends, will you rise in body and spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, number 155 in your gray hymnal, Circle Round for Freedom. Beautiful. Please remain standing as we read aloud the words of our unison affirmation written in your order of service. We are united in seeking to increase love with justice and to constitute a free church open to all people. Mindful of our past and drawing upon modern knowledge, we respond to the spiritual needs of persons and are devoted to the common good in community, nation, and world. We cherish the integrity of each individual and search for truth with reason as our guide. We respect differences of opinion and strive to be a democratic community. We are concerned with this world and open to the future. You may be seated. Gwen will light our chalice for us this morning. Thanks, Gwen.
Hey, good morning. Are there any children who want to come help me light the chalice this morning? Aubrey does. Good morning. All right, we're going to say the chalice lighting words in our loud voices. You ready? All right. We light our chalice in peace and friendship. Do you want to blow it out? Oh, it's hard for the runners. Thank you. Thank you, Aubrey. Good morning, Mac. Good morning, DB. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Okay, so Mac and DB, I had an idea for our Time for Wonder this morning. Let's sing a song about spring.
Nope. No, thank you.
Okay, no?
No. DB, no? Really? Really? No. I don't want to sing today.
Okay, no songs. Okay, another idea. Okay, we'll all pretend to be birds. We're gonna be birds in the springtime. We'll build nests and we'll pretend to fly.
Nope.
And
No, thanks. I don't want to do that. No again, DB? Really? Yeah. No, again.
Okay, DB, are you feeling okay?
Well, I'm feeling pretty good. Nothing is wrong. I just don't want to sing, and I don't really want to pretend to be a bird. Okay, well, what do you want to do while we're, up in front of everyone here right now? I want to talk about saying no.
Okay, well, you've been doing a good job of it so far this morning.
I have, haven't I? But you know what? Saying no can be tough, especially when you like the people you're saying no to, but you feel like everyone's expecting you to say yes. Oh yeah, I've been in situations like that before. Sometimes I've even said yes to someone about something I didn't feel comfortable doing, just because I didn't want to disappoint them.
You're right, DB. You're right, Mac. It is important to be true to yourself. And sometimes being true to yourself is saying no, even when it's hard to say no.
Yes, I agree. Well, I'm glad we found something that we can agree on.
Okay, so that gives me one more idea for our Time for Wonder.
What is it, Gwen?
Let's practice saying no together.
Let's do it. Yeah! I mean, no.
Okay, ready? On the count of 3, let's all use our voices to say no. 1, 2, 3, no!
Okay, wow. Let's say it again. Even louder this time. Ready? 1, 2, 3,
No! Awesome. That was great. Okay, now let's say something else together. Our children's blessing.
No! I mean, okay, let's do it.
Okay. We are Unitarian Universalists, people of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands.
Now, in Children's Chapel today, we're beginning our theme of resistance, and we're going to start talking about Earth Day. With both of those ideas in mind, we're going to be learning about our pollinator friends, especially bees, and how we can raise awareness about and act in ways to protect them. Come join us!
Thanks, John. Whew. It's cathartic to shout no. I have to bring that one in. Friends, we now come to the time in our service that we set aside for quiet prayer and meditation. This is a time to reflect on the events of the past week, look forward to what might come in the days ahead, offer a prayer of loving kindness to those in need of loving kindness, or simply be here now in the fullness of this moment. Following our time of quiet, I will ring a chime, and all will be welcome to come forward and light a candle for a joy, sorrow, or concern you have today. First, though, won't you join me in taking a deep, refreshing breath in, a calming breath out, and enter into this sacred time of silence.
We are sharing our offering this morning with New Beginnings, which provides supportive housing in Lewiston and Farmington and Augusta for up to 18 months to keep homeless youth aged 16 to 21. It teaches them to develop the skills they need to live on their own. They have many services, including educational and pre-employment support, and adventure challenge trips, offering experiential learning and adventure-based counseling designed for youth who have experienced homelessness. They help youth grow by trying new things and taking positive, healthy risks outside their comfort zone with caring adult support. Youth develop new real-world skills while practicing problem solving, strengthening interpersonal skills, increasing self-confidence, and enhancing well-being. And in my years as a social worker, I worked with New Beginnings many times. I can vouch for what a wonderful organization it is. For those in the sanctuary this morning, we will be passing the offering plate to one another. For those of you gathered with us online, you are invited to make your offering using the donate button in the order of worship or by dropping a check in the mail. Thank you for your generosity.
Have you heard someone say, if I had his money, I would do things my way? But little does he know that it's so hard to find one rich man in town with a satisfied mind. Once I was winning fortune and fame, everything I could wish for, get a start in life's game. Then suddenly it happened, I lost every dime, but I'm richer by far with a satisfied mind. Money it won't buy back your youth when you're old, or a friend when you're lonely, or a heart that's grown cold. You see, the wealthiest person is a pauper at times, compared to the man with a satisfied mind. My life is over, and my time is run out. My friends and my loved ones, they'll all weep, there's no doubt. But one thing's for certain, that when it comes my time, I'll leave this old world with a satisfied mind. I'll leave this old world with a satisfied mind.
Wow, that was beautiful. Whoa. Will you rise, my friends, and join me in singing our song of Thanksgiving? From the to thee I give. Together we share, and by this we live. From thee I receive, to thee I give. Together we share, and by this we live. Thanks, everyone. That music filled me up. That was beautiful. Our reading this morning is by the wonderful poet Wendy Cope. It's entitled New Season. No coats today. Buds bulge on chestnut trees, and on the doorstep of a big old house, a young man stands and plays his flute. I watch the silver notes fly up and circle in the blue sky above the traffic, traveling where they will. And suddenly, this paving stone, midway between my front door and the bus stop, is a starting point. From here, I can go anywhere I choose. What's your favorite part of a UU worship service? Is there one point in every service that reliably nourishes or awakens your spirit? The sermon? And you're just, no. What else? A homily? Okay. You guys. Too much. Coffee. Coffee. Joys and concerns. I know that the singing is big for some of you, because when we couldn't do that during the wicked COVID times, there was some real sadness about that. You know what my favorite part is? Yes! It is the opposite of the sermon. Yeah, my favorite time in UU services is the time of quiet. The point in the service where we pause in stillness and silent for a moment before we share the joys and sorrows we have aloud with each other. And from week to week, I introduce this time in the same way I always have. I introduce it as a time to reflect on the past week or look forward to what might come in the days ahead, offer a prayer of loving kindness to those in need of loving kindness, or simply be here now in this moment and all it offers in sensation and emotion. Or in other words, let this time of quiet be whatever you need it to be today, whatever you need to nourish, soothe, awaken, or liberate your body, mind, and spirit. As UU churches function within the autonomous governance system of congregational polity, meaning we are self-supported and self-governed rather than overseen by a hierarchical body like a diocese or a synod or even a lectionary, UU churches are free to design their weekly services in a myriad of different ways. On any given Sunday, UU churches across the continent are holding unique services. We are singing different songs, saying different prayers, using different theological language, focusing on different themes. Sure, we have shared values, but how we explore, embrace, and engage these values runs the gamut. And knowing that just within a 10-mile radius right now, Allen Ave, First Parish Portland, and UU Brunswick are all holding services this very minute, along with most UU churches on the East Coast. And I'm curious, what's happening in each of their sanctuaries this very minute? Likely different things. Side note, I went to go see Everything Everywhere All at Once on Friday. Has anyone seen this movie? Whoa, what a trip. Needless to say, I've been thinking about everything that is going on everywhere right now, all at once, a lot these past few days. If you haven't seen this movie, just go, it's just an experience I feel a person should have. It's just, First Universalist Yarmouth is the 4th congregation I've served as a minister, and one of many UU churches where I've led a service. And I can say that though these churches have all organized their services differently and incorporated elements ranging from reciting the Our Father on a weekly basis to chanting Hindu verses to ending their services by dancing in a circle, singing Circle Round for Freedom, along with the chalice lighting, one element remains ever present in all of them. My favorite element, the time of quiet. Nothing feels quite as sacred and powerful to me as collective silence in large groups of people. I have long been drawn to Buddhist sits and Quaker meetings for this very reason. But the time of quiet we hold in our UU services feels especially precious and unique to me. Because this time of quiet is a moment when our individual theologies all blossom at once together. It's such a powerful practice of ours to sit together as theists, non-theists, pagans, skeptics, seekers, science buffs, humanists, animal lovers, lifelong UUs, church shoppers, those who are a mix of all of the above and none of the above, for us all to take a quiet moment together and pray or meditate or think or not think, to do something meaningful together that involves stillness, presence, and faith as one. It's pretty wild when you think about it, right? During this time, I usually can't help but look out at the sanctuary and wonder what each of you is feeling, thinking, praying, or focusing upon during our collective quiet. I smile at the thought of the diverse expressions of spirit, of love, goodness, and trust that you are practicing and experiencing in your own ways together. And I imagine your breaths, heartbeats, and thoughts radiating out in different directions, carrying light, hope, concern, and compassion wherever they wander. During our times of quiet, as I take in this collective moment, I pray for your prayers, as though I'm offering them a fresh breeze to catch on their journeys through the ether. And I offer steadiness to your meditations as you calmly abide or seek to calmly abide in the clear blue sky of your mind. And yes, as I wax on up here about the sacred, unique unity of our time of quiet, I am also well aware that some of you cannot stand this part of the service. I know because you've told me. Often as you roll your eyes or shake your head at yourself or me. And friends, that is okay. It's really not surprising at all, right? We're different. And we attend UU services, UU church, because our differences are honored, explored, embraced, and provoked here. Even a minister I once served with often mentioned that she hated meditating. We are all different. That's the beauty and miracle of this faith. And I suppose with our differences in mind, it's just as interesting to ask what your favorite part of the service is as it is to ask which part you like the least, which part you feel resistance toward. We won't list these out loud today. We're going to keep it posy, as the youth say, keep it positive in here. But still, it is interesting information to have because our resistances, both those that empower us and disempower us, teach us as much about ourselves is our affinities. What we don't like tells us as much about ourselves as what we do. Our resistances tend to illuminate, I think, how we are, how our spirits are, and what we need or seek at this time. What if that was the approach you took to the time of quiet? Used it as a time to take a breath and ask, how is it with my spirit? Used it as a time to take a breath and ask, how am I? I wonder how your spirit, how you would answer today. How is it with your spirit? How are you? All this to say, during that minute and a half or so that we're quiet together each week, there's a lot going on in the midst of our stillness and silence. And I would argue, in the midst of the prayer and the calm abiding, the resistance and the ruminating, we are all in one way or another, whether consciously or unconsciously, checking in with our spirits and checking in with ourselves. And this is a core element of spiritual practice. Years ago, when I first considered joining the UU ministry, I was coming from a religious background steeped in Tibetan Buddhism and Catholicism, two religions that are heavily reliant on ritual and orthopraxy, or rite practice. These are faiths that require the recitation of prayers in specific ways at specific times, moving or not moving in specific ways at specific times. Faiths that require taking vows, completing rites, and engaging the senses in rituals involving food and drink, smells and sounds, and beautiful, bizarre iconography. So when I found myself on the UU ministerial path, my constant question for peers and mentors alike those early years was, what's the spiritual practice of Unitarian Universalism? Over time, I have come to let this one go. Eventually recognizing that the practice of UUism is vast and inherent in the fourth principle, the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. The spiritual practices of UUism are many, but they all, I think, are meant to aid us in this responsible search by helping us lift our awareness to the wonder at hand and lift our awareness to the constant presence of love, a love increased with justice that is here to guide us onward. You might have a different definition or experience of UU spiritual practice. I'm certainly curious to hear it, if so. But having let go of this particular query, I now wonder with some regularity what a spiritual practice does. For instance, what our time of quiet, which is certainly a spiritual practice, does. What happens to us during those times? I think we all can list the many reasons why we need spiritual practices to help us maintain hope, find comfort, see beauty, act with generosity, give and receive love, heal, connect, enact a better world. The list goes on. But what do spiritual practices do, though, that enable that all to happen? I'd say they bring us back into balance and help us maintain that balance in times of joy and sorrow and resistance AKA every day of our lives. Spiritual practices allow us to return to a starting point, and from there we can go anywhere we choose. Whenever we come to these junctures in the calendar when the high holy days of many faiths all overlap, it is clear that we have entered a season when, for millennia, people have felt compelled to gather and attend to their spirits, either by way of fasting and prayer, as it is in Ramadan, by storytelling and shared meals in Passover, or lamentation and celebration, as it is during Holy Week and Easter Sunday. The current that runs through all of these holy seasons this month is the presence of miracles. The miracle of the Prophet Muhammad receiving the words of the Quran from Allah. The miracle of the Israelites' exodus from Egypt and their liberation from slavery. The miracle of Jesus resurrecting from the stone-covered tomb. And then, of course, budding, sprouting, and singing along all of these world-altering theologies is the miracle of spring. And spring, too, as our opening poem, Crocus Minded, reminds us, is something that one must believe in. My friends, everything is everywhere all at once these days. Lamentations and celebrations, curses and miracles, buds and wind chills. It is both so easy at some times and so hard at others. I will admit to you, I experienced some dark moments, some hard resistance, some imbalance this week, following the news of the Nashville school shooting and the deadly fire at a Mexican immigration detention center. The slew of anti-trans bills being considered and passed during this week that honored Transgender Visibility Day did not help my mood. And neither did the lines of empty luxury condos I passed in Portland after my overnight shift at the warming shelter with 4 asylum-seeking, homeless families. If you would like to do a shift or another shift, they're continuing to seek volunteers through the end of the month. It is a very meaningful and important role. All this to say, it is very easy to get out of balance in this world, in this nation, in this state, just right over there, right in here, right now. There is a lot to experience and to resist in sensation and emotion these days. And it takes courage to believe in spring. It takes courage to have faith right now. In a UU World profile this month of Reverend Susan Frederick Gray, the outgoing president of the UUA, they cited her oft-quoted mantra, "This is no time for casual faith." Ain't that the truth? This is no time for casual faith. We are called to believe in spring. That is, to believe in change, believe in miracles, and act accordingly. We resist change so intensely as humans, so intensely that we even resist believing in good change. Change that abolishes poverty, change that beats assault rifles into plowshares, change that transforms fear into joy, and change that increases love with justice. Why wouldn't we believe such change is possible? Why would we resist believing that? Why would we doubt that? You remember that polar vortex this past February when the temperatures were like -42 or whatever? Do you remember that? If you had teleported someone from far, far away into that polar vortex and told them in a matter of weeks, this snow is going to be gone, and green buds and shoots will be rising up from that earth, which will be soft and muddy, they likely would have found that pretty hard to believe. That would have been a miraculous assertion. But it's the truth, isn't it? Believe in spring, my friends. Believe in change. Why not? Why not? Why not? This is no time for casual faith. This is no time for doubt, naive optimism, or passive expectation. This is time for courage, for balance, for spirit, for action. And so, with all of that, how is it with your spirit? How are you? What do you need to return to balance? What spiritual practice has its hand outreached towards you? The service begins when the service ends, my friends. This is a starting point. And from here, we can go anywhere we choose. May we move with love at our center. And may we keep on moving forward. Let it be so. And amen. Our closing hymn is This Little Light of Mine. And John is going to lead us in some alternate verses that are written in your order of worship. And I invite you to rise in body and spirit with us and join in singing.
Here we go. There we go. Special. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, every day, every day, every day, I'm gonna let it shine.
Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine.
Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, every day, every day, every day, I'm gonna let it shine.
In my daily work, I'm gonna let it shine.
In my daily work, I'm gonna let it shine. In my daily work, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, every day, every day, every day, I'm gonna let it shine.
Free from fear and hope,
I'm gonna let it shine. Free of fear and hate, I'm gonna let it shine. Free of fear and hate, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, every day, every day, every day, I'm gonna let it shine.
building a new world.
I'm gonna let it shine. Building on the world, I'm gonna let it shine, building on the world. I'm gonna let it shine every day, every day, every day, every day. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine every day, every day, every day, every day. I'm gonna let it shine every day, every day, every day, every day. I'm gonna let it shine.
Thank you so much to our guest musicians, John and Nate, this morning. So good to have you all. Thanks to our tech crew, Joanna and Pete, and thanks to you all for being here to join us for this special service. Next Sunday, we will be celebrating Easter Sunday here in our sanctuary. Bring some flowers. Let's deck this place out in springy bloom, shall we? All right. Before we go, will you join me in one last moment of prayer, my friends? May all beings be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings experience profound joy and the causes of profound joy. May all beings be loved and know they are loved. And will you join me in the words of our unison benediction? For those who come here seeking God, may God go with you. For those who come embracing life, may life return your affection. For those who come to seek a path, may a way be found and the courage to take it step by step. Service begins when the service ends, my friends. Go in peace.